My neighbor weaponized the police thanks to his connections. Now he's the one behind bars, and I'm finally free. For years, I lived next to a man who made it his mission to make my life hell. It started small: petty noise complaints, passive aggressive comments, dirty looks. I brushed it off at first, but when the fake police report started, everything changed. He claimed I was blasting music at all hours. I wasn't. That I was illegally dumping trash. My bins were always sealed. And even accused me of running some kind of shady business out of my garage. At first, the cops seemed skeptical, but then I started noticing a pattern. They always showed up, they always believed him first, and sometimes they came with attitude, like they were expecting a criminal. I later learned that his cousin was a sergeant at the local precinct, and a couple of his golf buddies were beat cops. He bragged about it when he got drunk at backyard parties. No one believed me when I said he was using his connections to target me, until karma finally did what it does best. The nightmare lasted nearly 4 years. I had to install security cameras just to prove I wasn't doing the things I was being accused of. Every few months, I'd get a visit from the police over some bogus complaint: excessive noise, suspicious activity, or some nonsense about zoning violations. I documented everything. Every time they showed up, every time I was spoken to like a criminal in my own home, every time I had to defend myself for just living my life. Then the tide started to turn. A new officer showed up one day, and unlike the others, she was respectful. She took one look at my setup and said, "This doesn't add up." Turns out she had transferred from another department and wasn't part of the local boys' club. I showed her the video evidence I had, including a clip of my neighbor standing on his porch, calling the police. Then grinning and mouthing, "Watch this." She told me to hold on to it and quietly passed the information to internal affairs. From there, a slow but steady investigation began. Over the next year, the IA team dug deep. Not only was my neighbor filing fake reports, but his cousin at the precinct had been manipulating paperwork and fast-tracking his complaints. Other neighbors started to come forward with their own stories. Turns out, I wasn't the only one. A quiet little scandal began to unravel. Eventually, both the cousin and another officer were suspended, and my neighbor arrested for filing false reports, harassment, and conspiracy to misuse police resources. Watching him get led away in cuffs was the most peaceful moment I'd had in years. And now, the quiet is blissful. No more late-night sirens, no more pounding on my door, no more fear. I repainted my house, planted a garden. I even adopted a dog, something I never would have dared before, for fear he'd try to get it taken away with a complaint. They say karma takes its time, but when it hits hard. I don't know what the future holds, but for the first time in a long time, I'm living in peace. And you better believe I've got everything backed up in case anyone else tries to come for me again.